What's up, people? It's Hatman, and this is just a quick follow-up to this video right here. Roy Jones Jr., Russian citizen, enemy of the state in Ukraine. Now, the reason I'm doing this follow-up is because of some of the comments that people have been leaving. And as I said in a previous video, the naivety of most human beings never ceases to amaze me. And some of these comments are a perfect example of that naivety. Now, what comments am I talking about? Well, comments like this here from Mr. Wasib Hussein. Big up Wasib Hussein. Thank you for the comment. He said, come on, spies are not famous. Espionage, LOL, shake my head. Spies are not famous? Okay, we'll get onto that in a second. Also, this comment here, 2 thumbs up. A spy, LOL, come on, Hatman, LOL. Well, first and foremost, I never said that Roy Jones Jr. was a spy. I never suggested that he was a spy. All I was doing in this video was telling you that other people have suggested that he's a spy. Okay? And in fact, let's listen to exactly what I personally said about it. It would seem a little odd for them to send someone who is a public figure like Roy Jones Jr. as a spy. The Americans to send someone as, known as him. And in terms of him being a Russian spy, I mean, what would his motivation for that be? Money? I don't know. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, but I don't know. I'd be surprised if that was the case. So there you have it. I said I would be surprised if that was the case. I would be surprised if Roy Jones Jr. was a spy, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility. Now, why do I say it's not beyond the realms of possibility? The reason why I say it is because there have been many, literally countless celebrities who have turned out to have been working for the intelligence services. That's right. Countless numbers of celebrities. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples right now that you can go look up for yourselves, even on Wikipedia. All right. So shout out again to Wasib Hussein, who thinks that spies are not famous. Well, actually, they are famous. And first of all, we need to clarify exactly what we mean here by spy. When you say spy, some people seem to think that we're talking about a James Bond type character that's going to be running around in tuxedos and jumping out of helicopters and speedboats and car chases and explosions and all that. That's not what spies really are. I mean, there might be some spies that are doing all that, but the majority of spies who work for MI6, CIA, whatever, are just paid snitches. They're no different than police informers, people on the street who might live in a certain area where criminal activity is going on, who are paid a bit of money by the police to snitch. That's all most MI5, MI6, CIA spies are. They're just paid snitches, and the intelligence agencies are all pervasive. They're all pervading. They're everywhere. Their agents, their snitches are everywhere. I mean, even on social media, even on YouTube. Just think about the amount of people that have been caught and convicted for crimes because of stuff they said on Facebook. Because the intelligence agencies and the police use social media to try and catch people. This is the reality. How do they catch people? Because they have got a lot of people, a lot of paid snitches on their payroll. And these people come from all walks of life. They could just be regular people, unemployed people, teachers, firemen, doctors. It could be criminals, gangsters, pedophiles, drug dealers, whatever. When it comes to intelligence services, the only criteria they really care about in terms of recruiting people to spy for them is, are you going to be useful? Can they use you? That's it. They really don't care who you are. If they think you could be useful for them, they'll recruit you. You don't have to be anyone special. You probably won't even get any special training most of the time. They're just recruiting average Joes. All right. Now, let me just give you a couple examples of celebrities. And there are many others, by the way, people. And there are many others who may be working for the intelligence agencies as spies, but it's not been made public. In fact, you would have to imagine that most of them who have worked or do work for the intelligence agencies, it will never become public that they've been doing so. Now, some of you may know this guy. He's a well-known TV presenter or newsreader on Channel 4. It's called Jon Snow. Now, this is his Wikipedia page. Any of you could go look this up. Now look what it says here. In 1976, Snow rejected an approach by the British intelligence services to spy on his colleagues. At first, he was asked to supply information about the Communist Party, but he was then asked to spy on certain left-wing people working in television. In return, he would have received secret monthly tax-free payments into his bank account, matching his then salary. So British intelligence tried to recruit a well-known TV presenter to spy on his colleagues. They tried to recruit Jon Snow as a spy, and they were willing to basically double his salary. Now, he rejected that offer, according to him. How many newsreaders didn't reject that offer? To have your salary doubled and have it tax-free and totally untraceable. How many newsreaders that we watch on TV are actually working for British intelligence or American intelligence when Jon Snow has come out publicly and said that they tried to recruit him as a spy? People think that this stuff is a stuff of fiction. No, people, this is how the intelligence agencies work. They will recruit anybody from any level of society, whether you're a politician, newsreader, person that work on the bus. If they think you could be useful for them, they'll try and recruit you. In fact, one of the boys who was purported to have beheaded drummer Lee Rigby, if you remember that incident, that boy and his friends, in fact, his friends came out in the media and said that he had told them that MI6 had been harassing him. MI5 and MI6 had been harassing him, trying to recruit him as one of their agents. This was obviously prior to the alleged beheading. This guy was being harassed by MI5 and MI6 to work for them. So they'll literally recruit anybody who they think could be useful. Now, another example is this man right here, Roald Dahl. Some of you people might know this guy, who was a famous author in the UK. He died in 1990, and he wrote children's books mostly. But if you go here to his Wikipedia page, you can read this passage right here about him working for MI6 and the work that MI6 had him doing. It doesn't go completely into full detail. There are other websites you can go on to read more in-depth detail about the work that MI6 had him doing. Was pretty bizarre stuff, all right? And this is an author, a guy who was writing novels, and throughout most of his career, by his own admission, admittedly, I think later on in his life he admitted it, but later on in his career, he admitted that he had been working for the intelligence agencies for a good part of his career as a writer. So, as I say, people, the idea that celebrities could not be spies or working for intelligence is ridiculous. And those people who, again, I'm not to pick on you, brother. I'm sure you're a cool guy, Mr. Wasib Hussein, saying that spies are not famous. This just shows the naivety out there. People live in these bubbles of naivety where they don't really understand the way the world actually works. Intelligence agencies are all pervasive, people. They are all pervaded. They're everywhere. They recruit anyone, and their eyes are everywhere, people. Believe you me. That's how it works. So, yeah, my opinion, though, on what this Roy Jones Putin thing is all about, since I think it's unlikely that he's a spy. I don't completely rule it out. I think it's unlikely. I think, in my opinion, the most likely scenario is that, well, there's definitely an ulterior motive on Putin's behalf, because you don't need to meet the president to become a dual citizen. And even if Putin is a boxing fan or whatever, why is he meeting Roy Jones Jr. on camera in front of all the press? If it's simply to give Roy Jones Jr. his citizenship. No, it's not about that. Putin obviously has an ulterior motive. And I think the most likely scenario is it's a PR motive. Putin probably sees this as an opportunity to endear himself to the American public by embracing one of America's famous sports stars and allowing them to become a citizen. Maybe he's hoping to win some popularity points with the American public and at the same time stick a middle finger up at his enemies within the American government. So he wins on two counts there, in his if it's a PR exercise. That to me seems plausible. It's definitely not what it seems on the surface. Like I say, it's not just Roy Jones getting citizenship and that's the end of it. No, Putin has his own motives, which are different, right? So yeah, it could be that it's a PR thing. And it also could be someone else. I think it was Mr. Southpaw. Yeah, Mr. Southpaw said it may be an attempt by Putin to wallpaper over race relations problems that they've been having in Russia lately, because there have been incidents of black people being racially abused and all this kind of stuff in Russia lately. And maybe Putin is using it for that as well, to say, actually, we like black people, we like American celebrities and what have you, and sticking a middle finger up at the American government, because obviously there's a lot of anti-Russian propaganda which is being spread through the Western media. Now, I'm not saying that all of it is untrue, but I'm just saying there's a lot of anti-Russian information and what have you going on in the American media. And maybe this is Putin's way of fighting back against that. So, like I say, who knows what the situation really is? I don't rule out the idea that Roy Jones Jr. could be intelligence, but making his transition over to being a Russian citizen or a dual American Russian citizen so public, I think would kind of blow his cover before he's started his spy work, if you get what I'm saying. So that's why I think it's unlikely that he's a spy, because if he was going to be a spy, they'd send Roy Jones Jr. in without any fanfare. You know, to just send him in to mingle socially and stuff like that. To send him in so boldly like this on television and all this business, that is what makes me think it's unlikely that he's a spy. But who knows, people? Who knows? I just felt like I had to educate some people here on the realities of the world, on the facts of life. Because the facts are that, you know, you don't have to be nothing special to become an MI6 or MI5 or CIA operative. You don't at all. They recruit all kinds of people, including celebrities. So it is what it is. Anyway, it's your boy Hatman. I'm out.